When is this meeting supposed to start?
We're supposed to start at 6, but we're waiting for everybody to get on, so it'll be probably another about 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Lee Reed and Gia, I'm glad both of y'all was able to make it to in here.
Yeah, thanks for the invite. Definitely.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Glad y'all came.
Glad to be here. Sorry, I'm a little delayed. I still have work guys here in the house.
Don't worry, I do too. I'm at work now.
Is Reece on yet? Nope. Hello, Brian. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
Hey, man, I'm feeling good, feeling good. We're going to get started in a few minutes. We're just waiting on, let's see, probably going to start in about 4 more minutes, around 6 or 7:15 our time, 6:15 your time.
Got you.
Hey, Todd.
Yes.
So while we waiting, so for next month, are you gonna? I know you're going back to the barbershop, but are you gonna do a live stream as well?
We're working on all of the details with that because a lot of people are out of town that jump on the call. So we're going to try to live stream it to keep that going as well because we like that, having that option as well. With COVID, it kind of made us have to live stream, but more in person is much better because you actually can feel the energy in the room and different stuff like that.
Okay, I was just wondering because I like the idea of having it virtual as well because you get different, from different locations, not just in the seat of Atlanta. You get a little bit of everybody input.
Right. Since we've been Zooming, we've been able to touch almost 12 different cities, 3 different continents. So, of course, that is huge just because it's not just an Atlanta problem. Like, I'm in St. Louis. You want that extended warranty on the Yes. Huh? Yes. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be starting in 2 minutes. Reece, 2 minutes.
Copy.
You ain't no cop.
I ain't trying to be. Everybody think I am. No, after being on with y'all for so many months.
We're gonna give you an honorary badge. We're gonna give you an honorary badge.
I'm good. I'm good. I would say give me to get out of the ticket free, but y'all get tickets too, so it don't even help.
Finney, make sure that we get ready to go live in less than 1 minute. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get ready to go ahead and start. Finney, are we live on Facebook?
Yeah, we're live on Facebook.
Okay,
We are
thank you.
live on Facebook. We are live.
All right, thank you. All right, Reece, go ahead. Start it out.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Clippers and Cops, a virtual edition. It was some wonderful people. Of course, the law enforcement, members of the community, and everything like that. Just wanted to welcome everybody in. All of those living or in Atlanta that are sports fans, go Hawks. We're going to go ahead and kick this thing off the right way. We got some questions lined up that came in from you, the people. And we also, this is a panel discussion, open panel, so you can ask whatever you want. There are no dumb questions unless you're just trying to get a rise out of somebody. Then, of course, that's not what we want to do here. This is about healing. This is about community. And this is about commitment for those that are volunteering their time. So we appreciate each and every one of y'all. I just want to say thank you all for joining us today. Shout out to everybody that's been a part of this situation from the jump or from the early stages of it that continue to be part of the solution and trying to alleviate some of the problems that we feel out here. If you ever feel yourself getting into a touchy situation, or if you feel like, the conversation turns disrespectful, the conversation turns like it's just getting off subject, off key, I may cut you off. I'm going to give you my disclaimer now. I don't mean any disrespect. And if I come off rude or short, I apologize up front. That's not my intent. Somebody want to say something? Okay, cool. As a moderator, I have to do that to keep the conversation focused and also to keep it in a healing manner and a community-driven manner. So there we go. All right, let me go ahead and jump this thing off. Before I do that, shout out to all of our regular Ty, Booker, Curry, Mike, the other Mike. Who else we got? Finney. It's a lot of regulars. I can't see all the names who's on here. And if I miss you, blame it on the head, not the heart. I got a decent SAT score, one real high. All right, let's go ahead and jump this thing on off with our first question. Questions from Facebook, and this is a community-driven question. All right, here we go. And feel free to share the post, share the link on Facebook so other people can get involved with this situation too. Black on black crime, how do you curb it? We are cursing or causing our own black men to be extinct. Why black people don't march and raise hell about this? Why don't we do that? So I guess the question is in line and I didn't pre-read these questions so I don't want to be biased and pick another question. So we raise hell about seeing a police shooting. We raise hell about seeing white on black crime and different things like that. So why aren't we raising the same cane about black on black situations and black on black crimes? And we had the police here to hear us have this conversation and to jump in on it, because some of these officers are black too. When they take the badges off and take off the uniform, they just like us in the community. So that's the first question. Black on black crime, how do we curb it? How do we curb it? And you guys on the enforcement side, see you get called to these places in these situations. So I guess maybe you seeing what's happening, maybe you could tell us how to curb the situation. And you can raise your hand, use a raise a hand button, or you could just speak up and I'll call on you. And if you feel like this question is too loaded, we can go to the next one. The next one I just read, I want to jump in on that because I had a guest on the show last week and we talked about it a little bit. So I want to hear you guys input on this black on black crime situation. Ty, you raising your hand or you driving, you steering? I just see fingers, bro.
I'm both. I can jump it off if you need me to.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
I think with black on black crime, even the notion of it is insulting because in some cities you don't hear white on white crime and Asian on Asian crime. So the label of it in itself is offensive. But the elephant in the room is there is black on black crime. Most people feel that black on black crime, they're punished for it. So that's why when a police officer is involved in a shooting or shooting someone on duty, they feel like the police officer didn't get charged. They didn't go before, they didn't get there in front of the judge. And so a lot of people is more in an uprage because they feel like all we're supposed to do is serve and protect. At the same time, I think a lot of people take the notion of it's not my responsibility to get involved. It's everybody. It's like, oh, that ain't my business. We talk in the black community to mind our own business, and a lot of people take that notion all the way because when I was a detective and investigating cases, you can have somebody on video that's standing right there that saw what happened, but they don't want to get involved because of the repercussions that come with snitches get stitches. So by doing that, that allows somebody to basically victimize twice because then people look at the police and say, why didn't y'all do your job? And it's not what I know, it's what I can prove. And you could be my only witness that saw what happened, and then that person may be able to get off. And so it's one of those things where it's sad because last summer when we had all the civil unrest in reference to George Floyd and everything else, everybody, it felt like we were coming together. But then since then, crime has been through the roof because the police don't know how to, now they scared to do their job because it's almost like they damned if they do, they damned if they don't. And so it's one of those things where right now crime is high in every city because police have pretty much fallen back a little bit, and it's sad.
So how do you think, because you're on both sides of it now, you were on law enforcement side, like you just said, now you're a civilian. How do you think is the first approach and step to that with trying to bridge that gap? Because you got police out here basically not or afraid or hesitant to do their job based on the repercussions.
Well, we as people have to figure out what do we want, because when last summer we acted as if all police was bad, and that was the notion that was kind of being thrown around. And now we want the police to step up and be aggressive and address all this madness that's going on. And it's like, you can't have it both ways, unfortunately, because the people that, if you're working this job, I'm one mistake away from death and one mistake away from indictment. Like, who's rolling the dice like that? You know what I'm saying? And although you know what you signed up for, if I make one mistake, it's like I'm walking on a tightrope and I can't make any mistakes. And that's not fair, because in policing ain't always pretty. But at the same time, there's people out there really doing bad stuff. And we as officers, we want people that, if it's an officer doing something bad, we want them gone too. So we can do our job in peace and do what we're supposed to. But we all get grouped together, and the backlash of it is crime is up.
I think that happens in during, I guess when you talk about race too, you get grouped together based on a certain people doing certain things. It kind of happens the same way. I think we got to kind of take a more humanistic approach to it. Does anybody else want to chime in on that from either side of the fence? Or maybe an officer may have a specific instance where you had to do your job, but you're still thinking about what is the court of public opinion gonna say or think about the situation. Okay, safe to say we can move on to this next subject. Ty, you handled that one perfectly. I appreciate you, my brother.
Hey, thank you.
All right, our next question is coming from Facebook once again. It's about gang activity, the rise in gang activities and areas to avoid. This is going to be based on city. We got different cities on the phone. I know we got people all the way from Missouri to Georgia to Michigan, Alabama, everything else. So we know you flying with them Cardinals, brother. Gang activity, the rise of it. What areas do you need to avoid? What can you look out for? What are signs to know that you may be in a area that may be infested with gang activity? And I don't mean now wait, let me clean that up. Gangs that are breaking the law, illegal gang activity, because we got positive gangs out there. You got gangs that are actually doing the right thing. Shout out to all the Qs, the Kappas, the Alphas, the Zetas. Those are actually gangs, you know what I'm saying? So if you in a group of more than 3 people and y'all are repping the same thing, you in a gang. We're talking about the people that are not doing legal activities while in these groups, repping the same situation. Okay, I can tell you
Let
one.
you go ahead, Dennis, and then I'll follow behind.
You go ahead. I don't want to hog it. You know, we worked in gangs, so I'm gonna let everybody else touch that one.
Right, Curry's definitely an expert on the situation too. So let's go ahead and clear the floor for him.
Well, I think that the one thing that you have to look at about gangs and seeing if they're in your community, first of all, is a lot of times they tag, they put graffiti and things of that nature representing their area. So if you see a lot of tagging going on in your area, different gang side, Blood, Crips, Gangster Disciples, and things that you have, you know, that hadn't been there before. Why is all these graffiti? And just trying to understand what that graffiti means, because a lot of times you might see it, but you really don't understand what it means. And when you really get it is if somebody puts graffiti up and once you start seeing people cross it out and put other graffiti beside that, then that's letting you know, or letting people in the area know that, hey, this gang think they coming in, but no, they're not coming in. We taking back our territory. And so that is one. Another thing is, you know, groups of individuals wearing the same colors, because, you know, we all want to say Crips and Bloods, but there are other gangs, hybrid gangs, that people don't even talk about, which sometimes the hybrid gangs are more violent than the actual gangs, because a lot of the gangs, when you're a part of, you can't commit certain crimes without getting approval, or you can't do things inside of there without getting approval. So a lot of people don't know that. But one thing that we've learned over the years that some of our hybrid gangs that we have located in the metro Atlanta area, is we're not just going to say Atlanta in itself, metro Atlanta. Yes, Atlanta has gangs. Don't let nobody tell you they don't. But metro Atlanta has a lot of gangs as well that have started in different locations and came to Atlanta, and they create their own hybrid gang. Now, some of them are trying to get more organized and get more, they have hierarchy just like any other organization has, you know, from your president on down to your, you know, your followers or, you know, and some of them have to earn their way in. And so some of the things they might do crimes, some of the things they might have to do and sometimes you might take someone's life just to be into that. And there's several ways that you can get into a gang. Some people don't know, how do you get into a gang, you know, and some of it is you could be, as you said, beat in, you know, you come around and a bunch of guys and gals, you know, will, you know, rough you up a little bit to bring you into the gang. Another way you can get into the gang is you can be blessed into the gang. Somebody in your family member is high up and he can bless you into that gang. And then another way that you can get into the gang is sometimes, not everybody talked about it, you can be sexed into the gang. And we'll just let that go how it goes. So there are different ways, but most honorable way that most people get into a gang is they have to be beat into the gang. That's just, you know, that's just the way that they do it. Or some might call it hazing, okay, to get into that gang. But we have it. We have it in Metro Atlanta, and You know, it's just certain things that you have to pay close attention to. And a gang is, if you don't know what a gang is, it's 3 or more. Okay, that's the thing. If 2 people do something, it's just a couple of people. That's a couple. But it has to be 3 or more in the commission of a crime. And so a lot of people will think, oh, okay, and you did hit it right on the head, Reece, is we do have a lot of gangs, but because of sorority, police department, fire department, all these can be considered gangs because it's 3 or more, but it's actually what they do. So if they're causing havoc, or they're taking away, or they're robbing, stealing, and doing other things, selling drugs, because they do that, selling weapons. That is what, you know, gang. And then with that leads to other things we're going on. Because here in Atlanta, we had the smash and grabs, we had the sliders. So you have all the things that's going on. And then a lot of people want to consider those water boys, the one who out on the corner is gangs, you know, but until they do something wrong, yeah, they might be a gang, but if they just selling water, okay. But if they harass or pull a weapon on you or start shooting and things of that nature, that makes it a problem. So I'll pass it on to I see somebody else that raised their hand on here, so I'll pass it on to them and see what they have. Audrey, I think it is.
Audrey raised their hand. Why don't you go ahead and take the floor?
Hi, I just wanted to say, I just think we got to be careful, just the way that this particular topic was represented. When we said, yeah, if you're in, you know, a fraternity or a Kappa or whatever was said, you're in a gang. Let's just be clear for a minute. A gang is defined as an organized group of criminals. Okay, so I just want to be respectful. I'm not an AKA, I'm not a Delta, but let's just be careful about grouping.
I beg to differ on that. You need to look at the terminology of a gang. It does not say that.
Actually, if you Google it, just Google gang. Google gang. Google the formal definition of a gang, and it's a group of people organized. A group of organized. Oh, I have right here an organized group of criminals. That is the definition of gangs. Just look at the formal definition of gangs. So that's the first thing that pops up. I'm just saying, no, I don't want to get away from what you guys are saying about gang activity. I just think we got to be careful when we say, you know, if you're a Kappa, if you're an Alpha, you're a gang, you're in a gang. No. Especially when we're talking about historically Black fraternities and sororities, they do a lot of good work.
No. We never said that they didn't. I just want to be clear on that. When we first introduced the subject, and I appreciate your information and input, but when we first introduced the subject, we said that you can be considered a gang if you're in a group of more than 3 people representing the same culture, color, or creed, right? And that could be considered a Kappa, Alpha, Omega, Zeta, whoever.
No, actually, when you first introduced it, you said whether you're a Kappa, blah blah blah, you're in a gang. That's what you said. So I'm just saying, you really did say that. So yes. and I think what you meant, I think what you meant is what you just said.
Right,
but that's not what you said on the onset. So I'm just saying, I'm not a part of this. If I could finish, please. I'm not a.
You're saying something that I said, so that's why I'm clearing up what I said in case it's not clear for anyone else. I said under the law, the pretense of the law that Curry just said, if you're in a group of 3 or more and you do an illegal act, like you just said, then
that's not what you said though.
And that's why I just said I'm clearing it up in case it was unclear to anyone else. I know you want to be right. I understand that. But what I'm trying to do is make it right for everyone that may have got the same misconception that you did when I first opened up the subject line.
Okay. It's not about me wanting to be right. It's about being correct. And all I'm saying is that when you first.
It would be correct in this point, right?
Okay. All I'm saying is when you on the onset.
Point, Audrey,
we got you.
I get both of you guys' points.
Right.
Basically, redirect the question or restate the question. I get what she's saying is by saying it the way that you said it. Some people that don't know any better could assume
I-
that if they can use that term in identifying with a Kappa or Alpha or something like that. That's why she's saying correct it. And he did correct it.
Exactly.
And he did correct it. We got it. We got you. We got you.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And listen, I'm not a Delta, I'm not an AK. I don't, all I'm saying is that could be construed as disrespectful.
Correct.
So,
I got you.
that's all I'm saying.
Okay, can we go back, going back to the original question? You can find areas of where crime is, because that was another part of the question. How do you know what areas are crime driven? You can go on the website and you can find the different crimes.
What website?
You can, if you drive down the street, you can kind of get an idea of where crime is going on. You can just kind of see things that are going on. If you see a lot of busted windows, you know crime is happening there. If you see people jumping on cars selling water bottles, crime's probably happening there. So, and again, you can look online. Every week, Atlanta releases the week's crime data for the different locations, for the different zones. So if you're looking within the city of Atlanta, you can find it there on the website, atlantapd.org, or outside cities, I'm really not sure. I can't guide you.
I got you. In the chat, would you mind placing that into the chat, those two websites, so anybody that is in the city of Atlanta can go to that chat, especially people in the community, because we don't know that information like you guys do. You know what I mean?
Right.
We appreciate they can see it.
I say that you basically have to be aware of your surroundings, because in Atlanta, although an area may look sketchy, gangs are in the suburbs as well. So although it may be, they might not be on the corner and there may not be graffiti spray painted different places, in certain areas in our suburban communities, they have gang problems as well.
I got a question. So when you hear about gangs and everything all over the country, when it comes to affiliates in whether it be Atlanta, St. Louis, wherever you're from, how connected are they to like the main hub? Or are these just kind of spinoffs of what, like, for example, you think of traditionally Blood and Crips, right? And so like, let's say the main gang's out in LA, but then you have affiliates here in Atlanta. Are they really communicating back to the main hub, or these are just like spinoffs?
It's most of them have to go get blessed in to even claim the said gang, but it's almost like, for example, Walmart taking mom and pop stores under their wing, and by doing that, it allows what was then a hybrid gang have more structure. And so, for example, if all of us is just Clippers and cops decide to jump under being Crip now we have more structure, more status nationally and locally, because now it's like, well, I'm down with this. Like, I'm down, that gives me a different status. And so a lot of the gangs do have connections out west, out up north, in different places like that. It might be one person that may have been out there and may have got blessed, and then he's established his faction in Atlanta or the different other cities, and that's how it spreads. It's basically smart business when you think about it, because if you're doing illegal activity, it basically give you a hub in different cities and allow you to basically take the show on the road.
One more question. How about with schools, especially, I don't know how it is in St. Louis, but in Atlanta, a lot of these districts now have their own police departments. How much intel is shared between city police and the school district police department? And when it comes, because I would imagine that's where you guys want to try to, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know. That's where you'd want to kind of make your way, get inside these schools where this is going on before it spreads out into the streets.
Most schools are a reflection of the environment where they're located. And a lot of the kids live in different environments, and some of the stuff that they see when they go home or on their way home, they bring into school. And the schools, when we worked with Atlanta Public Schools, we had a great working relationship with them, and they shared information and we shared information back and forth. But at the same time, a lot of times the school isn't looking to necessarily prosecute a student. Like if they sort of some of the same stuff, but at the same time, some of the students do things outside of school, and then
that's where we find them at. And it's unfortunate that we would have to pull them out of school or something like that.
Definitely get that. Anybody else want to speak in and tap in on this conversation? Okay, for those that just tapped in, we're right now talking about gang activity, gang situations that are happening within the city and outside of the city. As you guys let us know that that's happening out there too, which, you know, a lot of us know, some of us didn't. We got some websites up right now that'll show you where crime is happening in the city of Atlanta. If anybody else has any other cities that are in this call right now, wants to leave it so everybody can see, you can put it in the chat. All you have to do is hit chat at the bottom of your screen. If you're on a laptop, even on a mobile device, it's a little bit different. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but if you want to share that information, if you can't put it in the chat, let us know and we'll drop it in there right now. Feel free to send this information and share this on Facebook as well. All right. And shout out to everybody that just tapped in with us on Facebook too. Some more people just joined the conversation. We appreciate you guys. So we're going to move on to the next subject. If that's all right with you guys, you think we good here? Okay, the next subject, the next question is more of a statement. Out of control juveniles. I think we kind of started touching the surface and touching the beginning of that when we were talking about the gang situation and the you know, how they intertwine with the schools, but out of control juveniles. And we just kind of had this panel discussion here. I know you see this radio station here behind me, but with the nonprofit organization on with Positive American Youth. To me, I believe that a lot of juveniles just have a lack of resources or a lack of things to do. So they make up their own things to do. And, you know, the idle time is the devil's playground, especially in the summer. It's hot. There's no more virtual school. They don't have to be in front of that computer. So it's nothing to do. So I would challenge anybody that has a youth group, rec centers, sports, anything like that. Share the information. They've got jobs. Job availability is a big thing. I'm talking about for kids that are actually able to work. I think that's a big thing too. Anybody want to jump in on this conversation as far as out of control juveniles or whatever that means in your opinion? We will not judge you for saying these kids is bad. I'm just kidding. Booker, talk to me.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think me and Dennis was kind of talking about this earlier today. We're always going to have two different factions as far as how people feel about a situation like this. You're going to have those that sympathize and empathize with what they're doing, or they look at the bigger picture of why they're doing what they're doing. And then you'll have the other segment of the community where they're fed up with their activities. You know, when I think when we're speaking of the out of control ones, and we are talking about not just the ones that's out there selling water, but the ones that, you know, may disguise criminal activity under the guise of selling water. You know, they're selling water, but on occasion, you know, they will pull out a gun if you refuse them. They will snatch your purse if you roll down your window. So with that being said, you know, I think that there needs to be a balance, you know, or we have to figure out, you know, the happy medium between, you know, what they're doing, being a little empathetic to their plight that they're dealing with in their real lives. But you also have to consider the victims that they're taking advantage of, you know, unsuspecting men and women when they pull up at an intersection, you know, that's stuck behind a traffic light and being accosted by 15 kids running up to them, you know, saying whatever, trying to solicit, you know, business for whatever purpose. So it's kind of tough, but, you know, the out of control ones, they, you know, they make it bad for the ones that's out there, you know, just actually trying to make a buck. But on the flip side, how do you identify and differentiate between the two of them?
It's hard, especially when you want to get them a shot. You want to get them the benefit of the doubt. So you ready, you know, when you pulling up, you see them. So it's really no avoiding them in some situations. So you want to, you know, give them that $1, $2, but you also taking the chance that it might be the other side of the bunch. So we definitely understand what you're saying. I would like to say this for ladies and gentlemen on the phone, on this call, on the Zoom, that like Ty said earlier, Curry said it also, please be aware of your surroundings. Because you could kind of, if you pay attention, be aware of your surroundings, obviously, but take those preventative measures as well. I've heard you guys say several times, like, don't leave your purses on top of the seat. It's a free country. You should be able to do what you want to do, but things happen. So let's just be prepared for those things that could happen, and hopefully they never will. Leave your purse not on the seat where somebody could just snatch it out. If you're pulling up to a light, make sure your doors are locked. Don't have your windows all the way down. I know it's hot and everybody AC don't blow like it's supposed to, but don't have all your windows down to where somebody could just jump in. Ty, got your hand up. We'll go ahead and get you on this conversation.
Me and Booker was having this conversation, like he said earlier, and the once again, the elephant in the room, just like with black on black crime, is some kids are bad and not looking to be rehabilitated. And it's unfortunate because you feel like, whatever's going on in the child's life, if he see better, he'll do better. But on the flip side, there are some children at a certain age that have made up their mind that I'm thugging, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm gonna do, this is who I am. If I make it to 25, so be it. And you can get them all the help that you may think you can try to get them, and there still shows that road. And once somebody make a decision like that, you can't necessarily, how many chances is too many chances? You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand giving a second chance. All of us have made mistakes in our life. But at what point is enough? Because if you look at the juvenile justice system in the city of Atlanta, it's a revolving door, and the kids know it. So that's why they looking like, oh, I ain't got enough points. You can't hold me. Just call my mama. Or the mama is so tired of coming to get them. The mom sometimes feel like their hands are tied. A parent where their hands are tied, where they like, please keep him. So he can, hopefully that'll scare him straight. And that's not happening. And so it leaves, it's frustration from a police standpoint, because I can do my job to the fullest and still the kids right back out before I'm off. Or the next day you see them back out and you like, what did I do all that paperwork for? You know what I'm saying? And so it's frustrating. So it's one of those things where we got to find an even median, because we can't lock our way up out of the problem, and we can't just let them do whatever they want either.
Yeah, Ty, I actually agree with what you're saying. And I think that it also has something to do with, the justice system and the different counties, surrounding Atlanta. It's the reason why, Cobb don't have this issue. It's the reason why they're not doing this out there with Victor Hill. It's the reason why they're not doing it in DeKalb, because most people, they look at Fulton County as a joke. And that's not just juveniles. I think, a lot of adult criminals feel the same way, that they can get away with a lot more here in Fulton County than they could in the surrounding metro areas of Atlanta. So, just like we were saying, you got to figure out, how to be tough on crime, but not over police. And you have to be fair and justice, but you have to show these people that, it's not a revolving door for juveniles or adults.
Yeah, I'll say one thing on that. I just did a story earlier this week. This dude has got 37 cycles. He's been arrested 37 times, convicted felon, just committed an armed robbery and was out within 3 days. Right there, I don't know how as a police officer you can look at that and feel good about going to work. You could do the best police work in the city, but for somebody to be released like that, and again, you're innocent until proven guilty, but I think there has to be a point where, everybody has to work together to address this problem. But I'll say one more thing about the kids. I think the biggest issue, and I don't think it has anything to do with race. Any kid, if the kids don't have something to do, they're going to get into trouble, right? Now that might not be putting a gun in somebody's face. It may be some egg in a house or something like that. The point is, especially this last year, you got all these outlets that these kids relied on. They didn't have those. You had nonprofits closing their doors. The kids weren't in school. And then, for some of these kids, their parents, they work all the time. So what do you think is going to happen? And I think more importantly, it's not a police problem. It's an everybody problem, I think. And I think that the city, that's the number one thing. I think the city, in addition to like adding police, I don't think that's necessarily going to change things. I think you got to figure out, you got to get to the root of the problem. Why are kids doing what they're doing? And how do you get them, instead of doing an armed robbery, how about get them playing a sport or learning art or something crazy, something to keep them busy. And I think that's the biggest problem. And the last thing I'll say is just, and I hate to say this because I love social media, but I think in general, kids are growing up fast as hell now because social media, YouTube, you can learn how to do anything. You can learn how to shoot a gun in 2 seconds. I mean, that's the crazy thing now. And I think when, I'm in my mid 30s, growing up, we didn't have all that stuff, right? So nowadays, it's not even having a bad influence in your life. You can literally look up anything you want. So kids are growing up a lot faster.
Well, I think, yeah, Mike, you're absolutely right. And social media plays a huge role because, they have this thing now, what they call clout chasing, and everybody's putting on for the gram or, they want the most popping videos for Facebook or YouTube, and they're taking over streets, doing donuts because it's drawing views, it's gaining them popularity and things of that nature, And then on the other thing that you were talking about, it's not even that it's just unfair for, the police officer, but it's unfair for the community, for those people that actually, try to be aware of, fair for them to have to look at somebody that just broke in their neighbor's house within a day after they committed a crime. Like, what message is that sending, to the average citizen that wants their neighborhood to be safe when they have to continuously see people that they know is a nuisance to their community out on the streets?
That is correct.
I just speak on it for a second as well. And I'm an officer, but I'm also a mom. And I think it plays an important role because I see what I do with my children, but I see that social media and different apps that they have that they're able to access on their phone that you don't even know that they are using, introduces them to different things. I would consider myself a very attentive parent. I like to know what's going on. I want to know what's going on. I stay on top of, and I'll be quick to tell my 12-year-old daughter, give me your phone and let me go through it. And I do it I do it on demand, not necessarily give her a heads up so that she has the access to delete what she's going through and things like that. I think that a lot of parents, I'm only 31. I consider myself still young, but when I was growing up, like Mike said, we didn't have a lot of the things that we have now. MySpace just started coming out as I was in high school, but these kids have access to different apps at elementary and middle school ages. And it's just kind of weird because, again, when I went outside to play, I remember going out on my bicycle at 7 years old and being able to ride a mile down the street one way, come back and ride a mile down the street the other way. Kids don't have that opportunity anymore. We've been having in Zone 5, we've been having an issue with the Mills and Lucky Street, McAfee Street, that apartment complex. I don't even know what the apartment complex is called, but on any given day, you can find 60, 70, 80 juveniles just hanging out on scooters. When people are trying to get in gates, they're shooting at them if they beep the horn because they're blocking the gate. We've gotten a rifle with a drum on it off of a 14-year-old kid. And it's just, I get parents have to work, but at some point you have to remain attentive. There's no way that my daughter would ever be able to bring a gun in my house and I not know it. She would have to be stashing it somewhere to have it day after day, correct? I'm going through my kid's room. I know what's going on with them at any given time. If I see my daughter say something out of the way to another child, whether it be her friend or anything, just something that I would consider rude or unkind or, just anything like that, I say something to her. I stay, excuse my language, but I stay on her ass. And that's what I'm supposed to do as a mom. I get that some people don't have that opportunity because they're having to work. But again, I work and I still find a way to remain active in my child's life and remain attentive, because as soon as you stop being attentive, they have room to just skate. And I think that that's the issue in a lot of these kids' lives. They're outside way too long with no type of supervision. They're outside hanging out. You got 14-year-olds hanging out with 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. That's not happening in my house. It's not happening.
Yeah, but I think everybody's got to be involved. I mean, you're obviously an involved parent, and everybody brings kids into this world for his or her own personal reasons, right? I mean, sometimes it's by accident, sometimes it's planned. But yeah, I think there has to be accountability on all sides. And if not everybody's on board, you could, be a positive influence in a kid's life and be a mentor and all that stuff. But if mom and dad don't care and they're not going to enforce what you're trying to teach, then it's a lost cause, I think. So, I mean, I think everybody has to be on board for things to work. But what I guess, I don't know, my question I have is, how come, I guess the question I have is, I know a lot of people will say, they don't want to snitch and this and that, but my thing is everybody deserves quality of life. And at the end of the day, I mean, I feel like neighborhoods can stand up to whoever is the problem. So I guess my question would be, maybe from a police standpoint, why don't you think we see more neighborhoods trying to stand up to whatever the quote unquote cancer is in their neighborhood?
I think some of that. Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead.
I think some of it comes from the simple fact that now it's not just a neighborhood watch type of thing. It's that you go outside and you try to stand up for your community, or you try to stand up for something, or you do something. For one, as soon as the police come, everybody's gone. It's very little. You can't just surround in and come in and hound everybody that's there. It's hard to do that. But also, they have guns now. People are scared of guns, and for whatever reason, these juveniles are not scared to use guns. They're not scared. We've had, again, in that same area that I spoke about earlier, 20 to 25 shots being fired at one time in that one little spot. Previous nights before, 60 rounds, 100 rounds shot, shooting into apartments, just not caring. Would you not feel scared? How do you, I mean, at some point it's almost like, damn, I'm overwhelmed. It's just time for me to move.
I think that it's a group project, and I think that it's strength in numbers. Nobody wants to be the trailblazer to step up, because then if they're out there by themselves, well, what you're talking about, if they're armed like that, you don't want to be out there by yourself. But there's strength in numbers, and if the neighborhood in itself band together, then maybe they can make an effort to try to address some of the things that's going on. But once again, some of the stuff starts with the parents, because at the same time, like you were saying, you can't just have a child and then just send it off into the world and say, do what you do, because that's how things happen. But at the same time, we can't police our way out of it too. It's the same thing Mike said. Even if we had more officers, the officers can't be everywhere. And so the officers and the community have to work together to combat whatever crime is going on in the neighborhood. They have to have a cultivated relationship to be able to speak on it in a way where the people in the community feel safe about telling the police, and the police got to be able to utilize it without making somebody a victim in their own home, because everybody don't have the means to just up and leave because I'm in a bad area. And then as a police department, we can't, although you want to flood that neighborhood, you don't want to victimize the people of the neighborhood that you're there to help twice. Because when we do roadblocks and different stuff, then you catch regular people too. And then the people are like, y'all ain't got nothing better to do. Well, this is what you asked for. So it's a double-edged sword.
I was going to say, whether based on what the officer had commented, whether you want to, like, a lot of people don't want to admit it, but you just have to realize that some communities, or if you want to get specific, some apartment complexes are comfortable in chaos. I mean, that's what they know. That they know how to move in chaos. They know how to function in chaos. They make their money in chaos. So, you know, a police department or a community activist or what have you trying to come in there and provide structure to them, that's going to be frowned upon if they're just comfortable in chaos. So you also have to be real about it and look at it like that. Like, I mean, you may have factions within that apartment complex or in that community that want change, but by and large, you might be dealing with a far greater number of people that are just what I would consider comfortable in chaos.
I would say that's a good point. Some people are comfortable in chaos, but I also think that it's important to realize that nowadays we live in generations of people are just very transient these days. And a lot of people, I can't speak for a lot of different areas of Atlanta because I've only worked in Zone 5, but I know that a lot of people don't don't necessarily settle down in the city limits of Atlanta. It's a transient zone. People move in, people move out. So I think that creates a lot of issues as well. Some people don't know what they're getting into when they move into the city, whether they're moving from a different city, a different state, or just realize, oh, I'm moving to Atlanta, it should be fine. I think that being transient, a lot of people don't even live in the same location for more than 2 to 3 years. They'll, move in somewhere, move out, move in somewhere, move out. And it's just the transients that allows some of these issues to go on as well, because a neighborhood can't really band together when people are up in and out and up and down.
You guys ready to move on to the next?
Reece, you there?
Let me text him and see what he's doing.
He went in the bathroom break.
On the list was police reform really look like to you?
Can y'all hear us? Okay, I think the next question.
I can hear y'all.
Okay, the next question, I guess we'll just pick it up until Reece gets back. The next question that we were posed with is what does police reform look like? I mean, I guess this will be something that we would really like to hear from, some citizens, whether you are having a pro-police stance, or if you believe that reform is absolutely necessary. If we have any civilians that's logged in right now, would you mind chiming in and give your opinion on police reform? What do you think that looks like, in your opinion? Don't everybody speak.
Don't speak too fast now. Brian, Monica, yeah, you can look up. I'm talking to you. Corey, you got anything?
It's all boy.
I can say something. Yeah, I can say something to me. I don't know what it would look like, but I would say we cannot. I mean, we need police officers. That's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We need them because we know there's so many people will buck the system knowing that it's no repercussion on their actions that they do. So we need police officers, man. I don't know what it would look like, but I'm so interested in seeing. I just know what I'm trying to do as far as help the situation as far as traffic stop goes. I'm trying to just to get the awareness out there that I created a product to help police officers and drivers. And the product that I created is the Pocket USA. So it's just in case, like if you guys pulling someone over, you will see a sticker in their back window that says I carries the Pocket USA. And as you're approaching a vehicle, you will see their license and insurance registration would all be in this product. So now it should feel safer for you knowing that the driver's not moving and don't have to move. And the driver feel a whole lot safer too, knowing that he's not asked to move and be accused of moving for something that's going to hurt a police officer. So this is what I'm trying to do. We would not know the effects of the product until research is done, until a lot more people have the product, until we get feedback from the police officers and police chiefs. So that's what I'm trying to do. Hopefully it stick. Hopefully everybody just support it. And that's what I'm trying to do as far as helping the police to bridge the gap.
This question, did the origination of you creating this device, did that come from a bad experience with a police officer on a traffic stop, or is that just something that you decided to do after seeing, the current climate of videos where something may have happened at a traffic stop? Brian, that was for you.
I can't hear him. His mic wasn't on. I can barely hear him.
My question was, did you create this product based on an experience that you had with an officer, or did you create it based on just the videos that has surfaced where, some unarmed individuals were shot and killed, during traffic stops?
A little bit of both. But my original creation was just to protect my son. My son was entering high school, and I needed to make sure my son could survive encounters if he do get pulled over by the police. I didn't want this problem on my doorstep, and I didn't want my son calling me saying he'd been harassed by the police, or not get a phone call from my son at all because he's been shot by a police officer for asking him to reach for his license and insurance. So I just knew I had to do something right now. I couldn't wait on no legislations, no governments, no Supreme Courts, or none of that. I had to protect my son, and that's what I did. I created this product for my son.
Hey, Booker, I got a question. Maybe you can answer this for everybody in the group. Can you kind of take us through when there's a traffic stop, just sort of how it goes down? Because I mean, obviously in the media and social media, we only kind of see the end of a traffic stop a lot of times, when it hits the climax. But can you take us from the second, whether you're on patrol and you catch somebody with a traffic infraction, or maybe something like a bolo, or be on the lookout for something, a description comes out on the radio, kind of just take us all through kind of what the cops are seeing and kind of what your vantage point, all that stuff.
All right, man, I don't do traffic stops anymore.
Well, you went to the academy. All right. How about current?
because I still deal with recruits.
Yeah, Curry, you're
and,
expert. Let's go.
and so, and dealing in training. But I think what it is when you basically do a traffic stop, first of all, you got to have probable cause to make that traffic stop. You got, that is the first thing that an officer must have, and leads on to that. And I talk to people about this all the time. When you make a traffic stop, the officer doesn't know what you're going to do, and you don't really know what that officer is going to do. And so the best thing about it is to just let them tell you what they want you to do. Now, I know that we have seen situations, let's keep it real. We have seen situations where people have done the right thing, and they did it, as we tell them, show me your hands, got the hands on the steering wheel, and is not moving, and still end up getting shot, still getting pull out their cars and pepper spray and things of that nature. And I think at some point, we as law enforcement have to look at how we're policing and what was the actual thing of that. And when most officers come and make a traffic stop, they're only doing a stop based on the situation. Now, I always tell people, I said, when the police officer pull you over, you don't start talking. You let them say what they want, you give them what they need, and you continue on. But, sometimes the officer might have their own intentions in mind, which is wrong. And I think that's why you have the things we talk about, racial profiling, and things of that nature. And how do we combat that? And I think that everybody should be at least educated on that. And I know we all saw the video, since you brought it up, Mike, about, traffic stops. What do you do perfectly? And we had the situation where you had a lieutenant who was in the military in full uniform doing everything that we talked about here on Clippers and Cops. Everything. He had his hands, he asked him what you stopped me for, all this. And they were very aggressive, more than they should have. And that did not, happen. And, most people, what happens? Okay, when I'm making a traffic stop, and if you don't feel comfortable, and I'm just going to say this to everybody, if you don't feel comfortable in the situation that you're in, during that stop, dial 911, because they're not going to hang up on you. Dial 911. And as you're making that traffic, or they getting ready to stop you, dial 911 and say, hey, there's an officer behind me and he's getting ready to make a traffic stop. I need you to be on the line. Because that is a recorded line, and you can, and some people might call their parents, some people might call, somebody else, so they just might video record. So you have to look out for your safety and that safety. And if you don't feel comfortable, I'll tell anybody, just dial 911. Just dial 911, say, hey, the police is pulling me over. And when he comes up to the car, just say, hey, they talk to you, whatever you want. Hey, I have 911 on the line as well. And I just want it for your safety and my safety. You have theirs. In most time frames, they're going to have their body cam running, which they should, or their dash cam should be running. So right now, you have a little bit more level of protection. But as you saw in the video, they had body cam, dash cam, and they was doing their whole thing, and they were wrong. And the city is going to pay for that. They're going to pay dearly for that, because he did everything by the book. And then afterwards, he says to him, okay, you can go on. And that doesn't happen. So, and one thing about it is, a lot of departments that are smaller departments. Now, when you deal with bigger departments, it's a little bit different situation, but they still have problems. So I say, everybody, when you do this, just stay calm, dial 911, and because we want you to get through this. And some people the officer might have a bad day, and you said a wrong word, and then it just go crazy, and you don't want that. So basically, just follow the guidelines and things of that nature. And if you don't feel comfortable and letting that officer in your car or do it, say, I request a supervisor. Could you give me a supervisor? And that's one way. And just do the best you can to get through that situation. And if you feel like you was treated unfairly after the traffic stop and you move on, file your formal complaint. You have a way to file your complaints. We tell everybody, file your complaints. If I'm an officer doing what I'm supposed to be doing, that's fine. But if I am doing something or an officer doing something incorrect, or you feel like it's inappropriate at that time and at that place, make your formal complaint. Because I done got complained on as an officer. And I had to justify why that complaint is. And, you know, some people just gonna complain. You know that. We got people gonna complain just about anything. But some people are gonna make valid complaints. And those complaints can be heard about, because there was one situation that I was looking at in Florida where a police officer was, putting drugs on people. And later on, he ended up putting the drugs on the wrong person. And they made a complaint, and they found out that he was doing it because they ended up checking the camera and things of that nature, and they saw things that was questionable. Later on, he's being charged for that. So guess what? All the other people who made complaints on him, guess what's gonna happen to their case? The case, they're gonna get thrown out, and what else gonna happen? The city gonna have to pay, or the county's gonna have to pay for that. And we as police officers should know that we're held up to a standard. And some of them forget that. And if they forget it, they should be prosecuted. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Any one of the guys on here will say the same thing. They should be prosecuted. They shouldn't be given a chance to wear that badge ever again. And that's it. And Brian, I really appreciate, you coming out with the pocket. That's one way of bridging the gap. But there's other ways, like this platform that we have here today, where we telling people, hey, we got good cops. We got more good cops than we got bad cops. But what happened? They show the bad cops all the time. I wish they would start showing. And the media, yes, I have some media folks in here. Media play a big role in this. And they should be held to a higher standard too. But what they're trying to do, they're trying to get viewers. And so the best thing for them to do is spin the bad. We ain't worrying about the good. So I yield the mic.
Piggyback on what
I agree.
The key is, because we've done this, and we spoke about this subject on numerous occasions. And one of the big things early was surviving. Like tucking your ego away. We understand that you might have had a bad day, and you going through whatever. At the end of the day, just survive the stop. So if you got to ma'am or sir them to death to survive that stop, no matter what they're giving you, then just do what you got to do. And Curry covered the other angle of it, where you can file your complaints, and if the officer is in the wrong, then he'll be held accountable. Hopefully. So survive. So sometimes we got to tuck our egos in as men, and not have to get the last word in, but at the end of the day, we want to make it home to our families, and if giving them a little sugar or honey is what we got to do to survive, then let's just, suck it in and give them that. And then we can handle everything else on the back end.
Yeah, I agree on that side too. Even if you feel like it's wrong, it's not a place to hold court on the side of the road. Appreciate y'all taking the helm on that one too. We got another question. Somebody's hand is up. Kay Craddock.
I don't have a question. I just kind of have a statement going off of the whole. I mean, I know that the original question was about police reform. I think that we've kind of spoken on that a whole bunch of times, but going off of the traffic stops, this is a platform to educate the community to ask us questions, things like that. But I think that one thing that needs to be kind of educated to the community again, because it's an issue that continuously has been coming up recently. And I think it's because during COVID and after the civil unrest and stuff like that, we stopped giving out tickets a whole lot. I'm not going to say we stopped completely, but the amount of tickets that APD wrote dropped dramatically. And now things are kind of picking back up. We're going back to what it was prior to. But I've had so many people argue me down about a ticket that I had written. If you're in an accident, there's going to be an at-fault party. I'm not saying you're guilty. That's not my call. That's the judge's call. But what I'm saying is based upon what you told me and the other driver told me, this is what I determined and this is what you're being cited for. Sign the ticket, go to court and tell them what you got. I'm gonna be in court, you're gonna be in court, and we can hash it out there. The side of the road is not where you do it. I've had a girl literally say, I'm gonna just go to jail then because I'm not signing the ticket. Well, you signing the ticket is not you saying you're guilty. It's a copy of charges. It's me allowing you to not go to jail, and I trust you to show up in court. You saying that you're going to jail, at that point, you're basically saying, you know what? I'm so right that I'm going to go to jail. Like it just, to me, is mind-boggling and is baffling that these are now the issues that we're having. If you sign a ticket, that's not saying you're guilty. That's just me saying you don't have to go to jail. You can go to court if you decide, or you can pay the ticket. It doesn't matter. But so many people now are ready to argue an officer down. And I think that I'm not the type of person that gets riled up in it, but it's just, it's crazy to me because I feel like that's where things could go wrong. You start arguing with an officer about a ticket, something as simple as signing a ticket, and then things could really escalate at that point. And then you wonder where you went wrong. Well, you could have made it easier. I get you don't want the ticket, but that's not a conviction. That's just simply a ticket. Sign it and go on about your business.
Craddock, I got a quick question. How often does the first interaction, so like in your head, maybe you're like on the fence about writing a ticket, depending on how like a driver treats you determines how the stop's gonna end?
Well, I'm not one of those people that just pull everything moving. That's just not my style, policing. I'm not big on that. If somebody if I've pulled somebody over, it's a self-initiated stop. 9 times out of 10, they're going to get the ticket simply because they've done something in front of me. Now, if it's something like, you know, I really can't even give you an example of why I wouldn't give somebody a ticket. If you pull somebody over because they have a missing headlight, I may just give them a warning at that point. I don't normally write a ticket for if you have a headlight that's out, and unless, I mean, truthfully, I'm not going to write a ticket for that unless they have like a suspended license or they have no insurance or it leads me to something else. And then at that point, that was my probable cause. I'm writing the ticket for that as well as anything else. I'm not one of those people, Mike, that's going to write you a ticket because you got an attitude with me. Maybe you're having a bad day. I don't know what went on in your personal life during the day. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know any of that. So I'm not one of those officers. I can't give you that answer.
I hope I get pulled over by you then. I need more of that energy. As we keep this question going, does anybody have their hand up right now? If so, let me know. I can't see any hands up. I did want you to say, Craddock, you said something in that conversation where you say, hey, when I'm writing a ticket, that doesn't admit that you're guilty, even if you sign it. You're just accepting basically a ticket to go to court to plead your case.
That's correct. When you sign a ticket, it's not an admission of guilt. It's stating that you received a copy of the ticket and that you acknowledge that you will either go to court to plead your case or you will pay the ticket prior to the court date. At that point, if you pay the ticket, you're guilty. If the judge says you're guilty, you're guilty. When I give you a ticket and you sign it, that is your copy of charges. That would be like you going to jail and just getting out on a signature bond. That's your signature bond is with me.
Got you. Okay, cool. So in most cases, if you guys don't show up, then we get out of the ticket anyway.
And then that's also to go on to say, though, that I think that it's important for people to realize also is when I say that this is my signature bond to you, or this is your signature bond out of this, any ticket any traffic infraction is an arrestable offense. And I don't think that people really know or understand that. So if you run a stop sign, you can technically be arrested. It would be petty. If you have a headlight out, you could technically be arrested. Any traffic offense is an arrestable offense. The ticket is your signature bond. And I think that there's where a lot of confusion lies in the community is they don't really realize that. I had somebody argue me down on the street the other day that a ticket and a citation are two different things. I don't have no response to that. How do I respond? No, they're the same thing.
So jaywalking, you can really take me to jail, but you just choosing not to. Just give me a ticket or a citation or whatever you want to call it so I can stay on the streets. I like it.
That's correct.
And Reece, just letting the people know that in most cases, if we're going to try to explain that to the person that we pulled over, about the signature is in lieu of bail, just meaning that you're going to show up to court. We do understand that in certain situations, some people they don't want to hear anything we got to say. So that message that Officer Craddock is trying to convey might not be received, to somebody that's irate, but most officers they explain that part of the ticket process.
Appreciate that information, you guys. Anybody else want to chime in on this situation? Because I've been there. I had to do what Booker said. I had to yes sir somebody to life because I felt like he was having a bad day as an officer or whatever was going on, and we didn't match hue. I'm not gonna play a race card or anything like that. But it is what it is. And I was in a little country town. So, I just, yes, sir, smiled on my face, let him give me my ticket, and I got the heck on. You know what I mean? But I wasn't about to get irate or tell him all my rights that I have for no reason. I just was trying to get up out of there, and it worked. Luckily it worked, and it didn't end up like some other unfortunate situations. And I'm not saying it's their fault for those unfortunate situations. In a lot of cases we've seen it isn't. But I'm just saying, just, try to be cordial as you can so you don't end up in a crazy situation. Natalie has her hand up.
Yeah, I just want to go back to something that Booker said about surviving the traffic stop. So basically making sure you don't die if you get pulled over, which you could absolutely be doing nothing wrong. But is that where everyone is right now? And is that going to be like that forever? Or is there a part of reform that's maybe going to change that? Like in my lifetime, am I going to see where, and this question is for anybody, where as part of this reform where we don't have to be afraid to be pulled over. We don't have to think that we might die.
I hope so, because I'm afraid.
In a perfect world, you should never have that type of fear when dealing with an officer. But we're living in reality where we've seen it over and over and over again. We've seen it where some citizens done things that contributed to the situation. We've seen videos where people did everything that they could possibly do to comply and still ended up shot and killed. But when you're speaking of reform, I don't know if if you're trying to reform the conduct on a traffic stop. I think it's just the act. I mean, just the actions of that officer and in that particular situation, how they choose to handle, maybe a driver or a passenger that has a little attitude with them, that gives them back talk, or that wants, like we said, wants to explain their rights, and as opposed to what the officer is trying to do to them. I think it's just how an officer responds to that. So I don't know if that's necessarily part of reform, because we're not taught that. We're not taught to, escalate to deadly force just because you told somebody to reach for their wallet and it's it's sitting in their back pocket. I think that's more so about an individual and the choices they make during that traffic stop than it is a reform issue.
Got you. Ty got his hand up.
As long as there is a human element involved, or a while, but every stop is different, because at the same time, as a regular citizen, two-pronged thing. As a citizen, you want to make it home to your family. As a cop, they want to make it home to their family. But most interactions that end up deadly or end up bad happen to be a traffic stop. So when you're over, you don't know who you pulling over, and they don't know which cop they're getting. And so as long as that exists, I don't think that reform will change that fact. But having certain biases can help things, because some may have a bias in a certain way that makes them in fear of a certain demographic. So when they pull somebody over, they may be kind of more timid. And if you get over that, then maybe that'll change. But every officer involved shooting ain't wrong. Sometimes does everything right, and it still go wrong too because the person they pulled over decided to run, reach, or come up shooting it also. So it could go either way.
I kind of look at that kind of like getting a whooping. You know what I'm saying? Some kids need a whooping. And I'm serious. Some kids don't respond to certain punishment, and I know I can get canceled for saying that, but I'm just saying in some cases it's not abuse. It's just a spanking or a whooping or putting a kid on punishment. It's not excessive in force. I think it's in the eye of the beholder or a personal agenda at some points. Like some people I see commit crimes as criminals. They make if somebody is sticking up grandmas and shooting grandmas, I want the police to take them off the street. And if they shoot at the police, I think the police have the right to shoot back. That's just my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? So I get exactly what you guys are saying. Some force is necessary sometimes because if somebody breaks into my house, and whether I'm the police or not, I'm going to make sure you got some hot ones coming his way. Because I have a family to protect. And I feel like if a police came on my premises while that action was happening, I would hope that they would take it as serious as I would. So we have to have an open mind every time we see this as a public, and it's just me speaking from my personal viewpoint. When it's a public, something happens in the public, let's do our research before we jump out there, because sometimes we feed into the social media and get excited about some of the things that are happening instead of just looking at things for what they are and then making our own assessment and then have an opinion on it. Now, if the officer's wrong, we're going to flame him up. We're going to fry him, and if he's not wrong, then we got to, say, hey, in the community, we got to do our part as well. Which kind of segs me into our next question.
Reece, before you move
Excuse me.
on, Reece, 1 second. Before you move on, I just want on this topic in particular, because I don't want to act like a little dismissive to her asking the question. Did you have like an opinion on what you think reform would be?
Yeah.
In this traffic stop scenario? I think who was the original person that asked the question? Was it Natalie or
Natalie? Yeah, I didn't. I don't. And it's not necessarily having to do with traffic stops. It's just the fear that people of color have to have, or that have, as opposed to other people in traffic stops or other interactions. But I mean, I've asked this question in forums with citizens, in forums with police chiefs from across the country, is as far as what is it going to take? Because I think that the reason why we have to have reform is because something is wrong.
Yeah.
But something is wrong because there's a lot of people in charge that don't think anything is wrong.
When you say charge, could you define that? Do you mean like on the police level, or are you talking about like as far as city?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Or not necessarily. They may not be like that, but because a agency head is just one person, and they could have, it could be NYPD with 40,000 officers, or it could be Pine Lake, Georgia with 7 officers. But there may be people under their command that don't think that anything's wrong with the way that police are treating people of color. And so I think, just as somebody, I mean, I've worked in law enforcement for almost 30 years now. And I have just, seen things go from bad to worse. And I'm like, in my lifetime, will we get to a point where we, where we don't, are we going to get past this? Or is this it? Ty said this is it. So I'm going to leave this earth.
Look,
like this.
All I'm saying is some of the problems in policing have been existing since the beginning of time. We're just now able to see them.
I mean, yeah, we all know. I mean, we all are pretty educated people, it seems like, all this situation. We all know where the police were originated to do and from. So luckily, it's become better than that. In some cases, it doesn't seem like it, but luckily it's become better than that. Shoot, we got good police on this call right here. We have officers that are in the community and trying to do the thing. So sometimes we're kind of like, what he preaching to the choir in most cases, but that's what this forum is for, to keep spreading that word so people can actually see that there are some guys out there and ladies out there that are trying to do the right thing with the position that they have been given. Now there are some fools almost in every industry, including the media. So we have to try to outweigh them and keep getting this stuff out the right way. Speaking of good people in media, I see my boy Corey checking in. What's up, tall boy? I see you.
He called me by my government. I came in late, so I wanted to kind of just get the vibe of what was going on. First off, for the ones that know me, hope all is well with y'all. Just saw you online, Dennis, and I said, let me come out and support you as we always do. You ain't got to wave, man. You know, it is what it is. But when you were talking about the original question, Booker, you said reform. Is that for traffic stops or is that for just policing in general?
Well, I was trying to stay on topic as it related to what we were talking about. So it was basically about traffic stops in general.
Okay.
If there was a prevailing opinion from the community or from citizens that, you know, where they thought that there was something that officers should be doing under the guise of reform, you know, what would their opinion be as far as what we should be doing different than what we're doing now?
Well, I don't know if this, and I have a suggestion. It may be a stupid one, but I guess no stupid question or no stupid answer is not stupid unless you just throw it out there. But, you know, clearly we're having a lot of problems with African Americans getting pulled over and they're considered negative stops. And I guess my only thing is all police cars have some type of bullhorn or some way that they can, you know, make some type of notification to where everyone in the street can hear you. Is that correct? Yes, no, I don't know. I'm just talking from a.
You mean like the loudspeaker?
Yeah, the loudspeaker.
Yeah. Yes.
So and I know like this probably, you know, I'm not thinking I'm reinventing the wagon, you know, reinventing the wheel, but I'm thinking when you pull somebody over, I know it's probably embarrassing, but you know, it's like, why not use the loudspeaker and say, please have your driver's license already ready? You already know whether or not that person has insurance on the vehicle or not. Now, why are they getting pulled over? That's something that you need to at least let them know. But at least that gives that person enough time to be able to have it already in their left hand to where they don't even need to reach over for anything. So driver, you know, please have your driver's license ready by the time I come to the car. And that way, you know, it kind of, an officer is always going to be on guard. But I'm also looking at it as it may also protect that person that's in that car, whether passenger or driver. And I don't know if it's legal to do that, but apparently probably 80% of the calls or the stops, you were pulled over for a reason. So like Craddock said, and Curry has said, and some of the other ones have said, you know, there was a reason for that stop. And even though it may be embarrassing, I'd rather be embarrassed and know that I'm going home as opposed to he's reaching and I don't know what he has, and then it's a fatal mistake.
Me personally, I don't see anything wrong with that. You know, yeah, it might be a little bit, you know, like, yeah, I'm putting people in your business, but I don't foresee anything wrong with that. I think you may have missed Brian. I don't know if he's still on, but he created
the sleeve, right.
Yeah,
and it's how do we get awareness to getting that sleeve out to other you know, people of color or just people in general? Just how do they even get that awareness? Because what Brian said was, I want my son to come home. So This is something that's probably been created within the last 5 years. Not sure or not. I don't know how old his son is, but I mean, I'm looking at it as I'd rather be embarrassed. I'd rather already have my information out, you know, because I'm looking at watching videos, and when I see white people be very disrespectful to officers, and the white officers that pulled them over are allowing it or tolerating that, you would not do that if it was somebody of brown or black, you know, ethnicity. You just wouldn't do that. So it's like, keep that same energy when you do it with them. Do this, keep that same energy when you pull somebody else over. Now, like I said, apparently Craddock pulled that person over for a reason. Like she said, there's no admission to guilt. It's just saying, hey, just sign the ticket, but at least you don't have to worry about them reaching, if that makes sense, to where you're sitting there like, I don't know if they're reaching for something that they're not supposed to be reaching for, or they are actually reaching for what I'm asking for, if that makes sense.
I think it's a gray area that would.
Repeat that again.
Yeah, real quick, man. And that's why I created it, man. And how we get the awareness out, man, is just like you telling the next person or as many people as you can. It's only been on the market for like 7 or 8 months, man. So my job is to tell as many people as possible that we do have something, right? We have something that can help the situation, that can possibly stop a shooting or a pepper spray or a taser.
Can I challenge you, Brian?
Of course.
Create a video. You got a cell phone, put it in landscape mode. Don't put it in vertical mode like Dennis or like Booker. Put it in put it in landscape mode. And like how we are, how myself and Reece is sitting here with the full wide and just create a little video. Hey, I created this. If you want to buy it, you can get it for $2.99 or for $5 and blah, 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 blah. Why don't you reach out to some of the stores, the local stores in your area, and say, hey, I've partnered with A, B, C, and D, and we do it from here. If you don't want to do it, then you can just go buy.
No, I have videos out. I was featured on the local news out here in Houston, man. Like the awareness is getting out there, don't get me wrong. But it's just like for people who don't know, right? So like if what city you in, maybe you can tell the next person in the city you in, and it can be a domino effect. Cause I've been on numerous radio shows. I've been on the National Syndicated Breakfast Club. I've been making videos. If you go to any one of my social media platforms, The Pocket USA, you will see different police officers. The Pocket USA. That's on Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, The Pocket. ThePocket USA. So you will see different police officers endorsing it. Yeah, I already have it in now. You will see different police officers endorsing it, man. I'm just trying to do my part, man, just to get the awareness out.
And where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Houston.
Okay, so this is the first I've ever heard of anything like this, and I think this is a great idea. So if the Atlanta police officers have heard of this, I'm pretty sure, and this is no attack on nobody. I'm just a very opinionated person. I just tell it like it is, and I call it the way I see it. You got a guy named Reece that's on radio. He's probably heard this for the first time. But I mean, it's really in social media. What do you think what do people do when they first wake up? Even if you just said, all right.
Grab their phones.
Yeah, they grab their phone. So put $5, $10 on it on Instagram and just target a certain zip code and just say, hey, here's the Pocket, the Pocket USA that I don't know. What is the name of it that you call it?
The Pocket USA.
Yeah. So just say, hey, I got the Pocket USA to stop you from the police. Reach out, shoot out DMs to certain people, shoot out the DMs to the Tamika Mallory's and to the David Banners. They may ignore you today, but if you keep shooting it out to them, put $5, $10 behind it. Ask everybody that's here in Clippers and Cops and say, will you be willing to put $5 or $10 behind this video to where you can start reaching it in to not only just Houston, Texas, but you got Atlanta, you got Decatur, you got the Morrow, you got Michigan, you got Detroit, you got California all the way to, Rhode Island. And then now you can start to build that social media buzz with a tangible product that could possibly save the life of, the next, person that gets pulled over by the police.
Absolutely. I agree. I think everybody could take the he put it in the chat. He put the website as well as this product to help with traffic stops in the chat. You could even take it a step further. I will challenge everybody to repost this on their own personal social media. I just put it on my Instagram on both of my Facebook pages so other people on my platform would know. And I'm just putting, hey, you could save your life or somebody with this product. Ty, you got your hand up.
I was gonna say, if it was me, I would reach out to your local academy or go by different police jurisdictions and see if they would be willing to. You might have to give a few for free so that they can try it out, or find some young youth organization or driver's ed class to put it in their hand, where then if somebody, I give them my contact information and be like, hey, if you ever get stopped and can you do me like a testimony? You know what I'm saying? So that people can see like, oh man, that really worked. And then you go from there. And as people learn about it, it's the same thing with Clippers and cops. A lot of people don't even know that we do this and been doing this for 3.5, almost 4 years. And last summer, when everything was popping off in Atlanta, we got contacted by multiple media outlets trying to show that every cop is not what they're portraying us to be. Right. And we got the proof that everybody was like, where y'all at? And they don't know that the department we couldn't speak. Like, we still were working for the city of Atlanta for most, I did, so you couldn't say nothing. So it's one of those things where as people find out about you, it'll take a mind of its own, because there's somebody out there looking for exactly what you're doing.
Right, especially if it's something that could save lives or put a positive spin on some negative things. Booker, you got your
right.
Yeah, I was just okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say, Brian, until your pocket goes, global, I think it's important for the average citizen to relax and get their documents together before the officer comes up to their car. And if it's a situation where they can see through your car and they see you, fidgeting or, reaching for something, then just kindly explain to them when they get up to your window that I was trying to get all my documents for you, officer. My hands are visible. And I mean, just explain to them what you were doing, so you didn't have to make any moves or sudden, reaching for anything when they got to the window that would make them feel uncomfortable. I mean, hopefully within the next year, everybody will have that contraption. Right. And Brown will be making a lot of money.
I'm looking at it. It's a clear plastic, and does the ID and the registration sit in it, or is it something that they can scan?
Yeah. So I tell my son before he even start the car, make sure your license and insurance in. Keep it in your visor. Keep it in your cup holder. So inside the pocket, yes, sir. So if you do see the police lights, as you pulling over, all you do is roll your window down, attach it to your door, and just pull over. Keep your hands visible. Now you don't have to move, and now they don't even have to ask you to move. So the police officer can feel comfortable. You as a driver can feel comfortable knowing you don't have to move for anything and be accused of moving for something.
Now, can I play devil's advocate here?
Of course.
What if the officer asks you to roll your window down and you have it, because it looks like it's a magnet that connects to the window, correct?
It's the magnet that connects to your door, or it's a suction cup that connects to your window. But I have a disclaimer on my website: keep open communication with police officers. Keep your window rolled down and just talk to the police officer, because 9 times out of 10, they stopping you for something that you don't know. Like as far as your tail light, as far as you drifting out of lanes, as far as you got a flat tire. It's just different situations, man. And a lot of police officers tell them they don't like to write tickets, man. They just pulling you over because something you're not doing correctly.
Well, people got to understand also, now we got tag readers. So you might think that check went through or cleared about your insurance or whatever. And sometimes when your insurance lapses, it suspends your license. So you might not know that. And when the officer pull you over, he know that, or he's trying to figure out why is it saying that. And so it's one of them things where be easy before the officer, sometimes before you even speak. People got so much attitude with you where you like, damn, baby girl, hold on, whoa. Did you know your license is saying it's been suspended for 3 months? No. Well, that's what it's saying. Like, I didn't just stop you just because I wanted to stop you. And it goes from that. But sometimes you can kill people with kindness, but at the same time, sometimes it's the perfect storm where you get a butthole cop and a butthole person. And then it's like, of 2 bulls going head on, and that's part of it. And like we used to say, man, we just trying to get home to our family. Most people are too, and they don't know which officer they're getting, and the officer don't know which citizen they get.
Definitely agree. Booker had his hand back up.
I think he never took it down.
Oh, appreciate you, Curry. Get him in line.
He don't know how to work.
Y'all been doing this how long and he ain't figured it out?
Man.
He always keep his hand up.
birthday, man.
Let's get one more question in, man. We got a few minutes. Get one more question in. See what you got. Give us a good one.
I do want to ask this question. Let me keep the party going. I do want to ask this question. How can we as citizens police our own communities in a way that's not disruptive to police work, but still in a way that we can kind of, you know, make sure that our own communities are safe? I want to hear from people of the community as well as the police officers, you know, because when y'all clock out, you back in the community just like us. So what are some ways you can kind of take the helm on our own situations?
You got another question?
That's the
That's a
problem.
bad one right there.
Problem.
Come on, man. You already know. Come on, let's just be honest, Reece. You already know people, the way your dad was in the community when you were growing up, you know, you see something, you say something, you speak up. And in this generation, you go down there to Bankhead or Donnelly Hollowell, you already know. It's like you try and tell these kids something. Who are you? You know, who do you think you're talking to? You out here trying to give tangible advice, trying to help them. You know, it's
tough.
That's and I know you're asking for a solution, and I'm giving you another problem. But I think the real thing at the end of the day is you just can't be afraid to stand up to today's youth. And I think these youth have got it to the point to where they're disrespectful. And how do you get a disrespectful youth or child to respect an elder? So
I do want to say this, just jump in real quick, Curry, right before you speak. The brother doing some great things. Gary Davis, I don't know if you guys know about him with Next Level Boys Academy. He's doing some great things, man, and diverting a lot of time for juveniles because he was not afraid to jump in there and speak up like Tall Boy just said, and not afraid to get in these guys and get in the room with these guys that are really popping off out here in the street and trying to give them something alternative. But he's doing it by helping them start businesses or gain employment or make money. And I think that's one of the ways we could do it, just trying to find resources, because a lot of these crimes and things that are happening is because these kids feel like they don't have another outlet to feed themselves or let alone feed them and brothers and sisters too. Curry, I'm sorry I cut you off.
No. You hit it on the head. I think that's we got to find an out for them. We got to find another avenue for them to have. But we also have to have more role models in the community. We have to stop putting everything on law enforcement or other government assistant programs, and we gotta do, you know, Tall Boy said it, you said it correct. You know, these young kids ain't hearing us, man. They so disrespectful. It is, you know, you trying to get them the knowledge that you have. Say, look, dude, someone's been down this road before, and it ain't a good road. And we just trying to give you something else that can get you in a better place, in a better space, but they're not listening because they don't have that positive role model in some cases. They look at Junebug or the bad guy on the street. And social media. Yeah, they're looking at social media and that's their outlet. I want to be like this one. So I need to be a bad boy or I need to be a bad girl. So what do we do now? You know, because the parents have stopped parenting. They was like, I'll just let the system handle them if I can't handle them. And that is wrong. You know, we don't have those grandmas like we used to have back in the day that would jack you up and dare somebody else to say something about it. Yeah. And that was just the back in the day. Now it's just, you know, grandmama is 35.
You know, telling the truth, yeah.
You know, and so what we gonna do? It's hard. And it's not only in just get it right. It's not only in areas of color. It's also elsewhere. That, you know, if you look at what's been happening, let's keep it real. In January the 6th, it was just, you know, it was a lot of people had their own views at that point. It's like I was appalled that they just made the decision to take over the Capitol because you know. That was something that to me is that represents all of us. And there was so much disrespect from people who didn't look like us. Yeah. And they tried to justify that. Yeah. And now we're trying to fix all this now. And we have it. And the elephant in the room is, and we just said real, for the Black community, policing look different than what it does in the white community. Yeah. So in the white community, and we'll just say it, they're there to protect and serve. But for us, at some point in time, a couple of years ago, not too far, they was there to suppress. And so we have to look at that in the eyes of what we see as a person of color. Let's not just, let's keep that elephant clear, because you can't come to my neighborhood and police unless I'm able to respect you, and you got to respect me. And that is just one thing about it. Go ahead, Tall Boy.
I had to put the church finger up because the reason why is we don't know our local leaders, and we don't understand why our local leaders, why they matter, because they pick up the phone and they call the DA, they pick up the phone and call county commissioner or city council representative, and they made a campaign contribution. And I mean, that's really the underlying factor. I mean, I'm pretty sure, you couldn't even name 3 or 4 city council members in your, on the city council, let alone, you don't even know who your city council person is. So where if there was a problem in your area, that ain't nothing but a phone call down to that district or to that zone or to whatever your ward or whatever that may be, to where it's like, why is this happening to kid A versus, kid B? So, absolutely. And that's to answer your question. And I wanted to add, because this was posed with that Lenox shooting that happened here in Atlanta. There's a gentleman who just opened up a restaurant here in Atlanta called Slush, by the name of Walter Jordan. He posed on Facebook, how can we get a better handle on, our youth? And I made a statement. And once I made the statement, he said, I've attempted to employ these kids. And he said, the kids told me that being a water boy was more cooler and they like being out in the sun better than they like working for him. He was paying $15 to $16 an hour to help some of these kids out. But I mean, he's a restaurant owner. There's only so much money he can really give out as a restaurant owner. And I challenged him, and I said, well, if he wants to be the street kid, let him be the marketing for you.
Yeah.
But he didn't see it the way I saw it. I told him, I said, we have to provide outlets. Unfortunately, everything is closed and nobody wants to take a chance of COVID happening on their watch.
Right.
So unfortunately, with the pools closed, with the rec centers closed, with, event halls closed, it's kind of hard to say, hey, let's have a video game tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to do that. And it's unfortunately the kids, like you said, they don't want to listen to anybody unless you are bringing them some money or you can help them get to the bag, as they call it.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
It's hard to tell the kids not to stand on the corner and sell water when some of them are making more money than their parents.
Yep.
And somebody tried to do an entrepreneurship for them, and they were like,
I think that was
why would I do this when I could? Right? It's like I can sit out here and hustle. So it's one of those things where the city's gonna have to come up with something to work with them, because them kids ain't stupid either. They not like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go work for this, or you know what I'm saying? Nah, they know the value of a dollar.
Yeah.
Well, the problem that you have with that,
that 24 pack of water is $3.99 and you selling it for $1, and sometimes you're gonna get $5 and $10.
Yep.
I can do that math all day. I may go buy a pack myself when we get off of the Zoom.
I'll just say one thing though. I think the biggest problem is when we try to address things in the community, especially from a politician standpoint, is that they always try to just eliminate. It's like, it's very, I don't mean by race, I'm just saying it's very black and white. There's no gray area. What I mean by that, it's either you can sell water or you can't. There's nothing in between. I think the way to handle this is like what you guys all just said. These kids know how easy it is to make cash out there. So instead of telling the kids to get off the corner, give them a safe zone to do it. Get somebody from the city to show these kids how to manage money. Let these kids open up bank accounts. Let them start investing at an early age. Like, these are all things that people may laugh at, but like, I mean, these are things that I think would motivate these kids. And then at that point, you're able to be a positive influence in these kids' lives, and they realize they understand the value of the dollar. They're learning how to invest money, and that sets them up. But just to go there and just make a blanket statement and say, oh man, all these kids are causing trouble, get off the corner, you're going to jail, that's not going to solve the problem, and you're never going to stop them. And I think that's the biggest problem. The other thing is, nowadays, I keep bringing up social media, but it's the king of everything. Like, how can you tell a kid to go flip burgers at McDonald's, which is like a normal job for a young teenager, when they can make a viral video on Instagram and become a millionaire overnight? It's insane. So I don't know how you can compete with that. So I think you have, as their elders, we have to get on their level, and we have to connect with them and say, all right, we understand what you're doing out there, but this is how we're going to change it so that everybody's cool on both sides and there's not going to be problems.
Right. Well, I know that.
Hey, Mike.
What's up?
I'm sorry. I was going to say, you need a battery for your smoke detector.
No, I know. I'm about to burn my kitchen down. Hold on.
I know Andre Dickens tried this, one of the city council guys that's running for mayor. I know he attempted. I don't know how successful it was. It was, hey, put the kids in a collared shirt, because, you coming down off of 17th Street or you coming off of 10th Street and, you got dreads, you got your pants halfway down your tail, and, you got an earbud in one ear, and, you slinging a bottle of water saying, do you want water? And then you got a nice car that pulls up. I mean, what do you think? I'm going to roll my window up. I need this light to turn green as fast as it can go. And, I'm not trying to be bothered, because because of your presentation. And I think that's the problem with the kids with the water boy situation here in Atlanta. And it's no different from, the homeless situation that we have here in Atlanta. You're just going to have to tell them they got to go. I mean, it's sad, but, you got to tell them they have to go unless you're willing to comply to these rules.
I feel as a government, they have to have enough structure and enough backbone to stand firm on some of the stuff that they put in place. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to the homeless or the water boys, the people that get put on the front line is the police. And the police is the ones that got to go make a move or whatever. So if one of the kids buck and the kid gets slammed on his face, then the officer is the one that's wrong. So it's one of those things where everybody has so much to say, but nobody's doing. And it's one of those things where it's like, what are you doing? If you put something in place, stand firm with what you're saying. Don't say, yeah, we gonna address that. And then when Tyrone go address it, then it's a problem because how it turned out. Because every situation ain't going quietly. Every kid ain't just saying, yes, sir, I'm gonna get off the corner and leave. Like, it don't go down like that.
Well, like you said, that's a city council thing that they need to sit down, and whether you invite the city council members to this next session that you have and say,
we do. Felicia Moore is coming in July, and I want Keisha. Where Keisha at? That's what I want.
But it doesn't matter. Keisha's out here in October. She's out. So it doesn't matter. You should get all the mayoral candidates. You need to get all the mayoral candidates, that all 8 of them that's running, or 15 of them that's running, and say, look, this is how, from a police officer standpoint, this is how we look at it from our side of it, and say, we don't care how you come up with it, but you're going to be the next leadership that's coming into the city for the next 4 years. This is what we see. Now you can take that information from our point of view. You can have your community people see it from the community standpoint, and then you can say, here's the suggestion from A, and here's a suggestion from B. However you choose to make it work, you're the new leadership. It's up to you to implement that new plan, because they're looking for answers too. And they're not on this call.
All I'm asking for overall, not only as a person, I want people to have in power to have the same energy about one issue as they have about another. That's it, whether right or wrong.
Dennis, and you know that.
I know that, but I'm just saying, last summer, people had so much to say. You know what I'm saying? And now stuff is happening and ain't nobody got nothing to say. Now everybody quiet. Now you can hear a pin drop.
No.
Where all them
Antonio
Browns and stuff at? Where they at?
Dennis,
keep that same energy.
Dennis, they did not
turn that camera off. We're about to throw up.
Dennis, they didn't want to listen, because I sat down with, I think it was 9 people that were running for mayor's office, and I interviewed all of them but 3. And I asked them about the street racing because I was a part of a car club. And I said, they're looking for a place to go. The candidate that won, she didn't sit down with me, but I mean, I at least addressed that issue. Now we're having a problem. But
Right.
that
We've been
issue was already addressed 4 years ago or 3.5 years ago.
It was addressed, and we appreciate you jumping out there trying to get it addressed, but the issue wasn't handled because it obviously was a lack of leadership when it came down to whoever needed to make a decision and make a move on it, and that's also a problem. But the time is now 9:03 Eastern Standard Time. So we got to wrap this thing on up, but we did get some great points out here. I think we've actually got some information that we haven't got out before, and I appreciate that. Appreciate everybody's voice on this call. We will have our live Clippers and Cops coming up here soon in July. Ty, what's that date?
We'll be in person. I think it's July 22nd. We'll be in person. Booker, what's the location? Something off Chattahoochee, right?
Yeah. It's I think it's Studio 6.
Okay. And it's a barbershop Studio 6. We'll have all
this will be our first.
What's that parking looking like over there, Booker?
It's okay. It's better. Hey, it's decent. Nice barbershop too. Nice and spacious.
Well,
invite your friends.
It'll be our first in person since COVID. So
we'll have
I'm looking forward to it.
Mask and hand sanitizer when you walk in. That'll be courtesy of our group. We got you guys. If anybody feels like they need to wear it, we'll have you, and we'll have hand sanitizer too for everybody to be in a safe situation. But this is an important thing to be a part of, and if you can't be a part of it in person, we will have it virtually streaming too, courtesy of our guy Finney. We'll be working hard behind the phone to get the word out, so we appreciate it. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys. To the young lady that I got into it with earlier, I appreciate
already gone, man.
I think y'all really need to link up with Brian and find a way to. And like I said, y'all know me. The ones who do know, I'm gonna say what I want to say. Brian got something, and it's how does he get that word out to where you start?
Brian can ship something to Curry and have Curry present it at the next Clippers and Cops, either before we get started in the mission or after we're finished.
I already got him. He already gave them to me, so I already got some from Brian.
Curry keeping them for himself. Curry over there got him on his window. He ain't got nobody else one.
He's giving them out. Curry giving them out in the country club where they don't need them.
I know, right? Right. They like, thanks, Audrey.
With his BMX crew trying to be Lance Armstrong.
Right.
That's good.
Hey, but we appreciate everybody. Brian got a good product, and I think that eventually it will get out there. So,
well, you over there on TNT, you needed to give that to Shaq. Look at him.
Just because you see me rubbing elbows don't mean that it's just like, hey, Clippers, we're Clippers in concept, man. we ain't gonna get into that right now, okay?
This guy.
Hopefully we don't conflict with game night, so maybe Shaq can pull up.
Oh yeah, right. I don't know.
But what's the date? What's the date?
July 22nd.
Gotcha.
All right, y'all. Well, God bless y'all and good night. Y'all be safe in them Atlanta streets. I'm gonna be safe in these good St. Louis streets. And we'll see y'all in about a month.
Ty will not be virtual. He's planning on coming. So y'all.
I'm coming in town for that. You know I gotta be in town for that.
For sure.
Yeah.
I already got my
so you get to meet all of us in person. On July the 22nd.
Carry on high side like you got fans.
So we'll be in rare form.
I got my followers too, Ty. Okay, then.
Chocolate Thunder. Get on Chocolate Thunder.
Fellas, ladies, appreciate y'all. I'll holler at y'all.
Who you at?
All right,
this guy right there.
We out. Bye.
Good job.
Hey, Brian, you still on? Oh, it's gonna end anyway. Brian, I'm gonna send you a DM.